podcast discusses a non-stop, thrilling adventure fantasy series set in the brutal and competitive world of a military college for dragon riders, which includes potential spoilers for all published material. This episode includes elements regarding chronic pain, medical misogyny, dismissive medical providers, death, and explicit language, including sexually explicit language. Listeners who may be sensitive to these elements, cross the parapet at your own risk and prepare to enter the Wing Raiders. Welcome to the Wing Raiders, where we deep dive into the Empyrean series chapter by chapter, theorize and overanalyze. I'm Abby.
I'm John.
Agus Ishmisha Cassie.
And today we are covering Fourth Wing, Chapter 12. Here is your reminder, not friendly anymore, because hopefully you should know at this point that you will be spoiled, so please proceed with caution. So we are going to send it over to Battle Brief, where we talk about podcast and or personal news, and I know Cassie had some things to discuss.
Yeah. I was really excited last time I did one of these check-ins because I was feeling really great and things were improving. But I've had a bit of a week of pain. And not necessarily in ways that I've had before, where it was like really sharp pains in my wrist, or I did have some sharp pains in my hand last week, but I've just had like constant aching in my fingers and my wrists, and my forearms have been really tense and tight. And even my my regular hand and forearm and wrist stretches haven't been working. And even like trying to do my PT exercises with the 5-pound weight has been like too much. I did have PT last week with the guy that can look at my wrists, and he did some dry needling on my arm again. And that did help for like a day and a half. And then it went right back to being really tense.
Yeah.
I was hoping that being off work for a few days would help it like relax and loosen up a little bit, because I'm not at my desk with my hands all tense over the table all day. But I've been gardening all day 2 days in a row instead. So I don't really know if that was helpful, but my garden looks great.
I need to see pictures.
I will send you pictures. I've also been having like my plantar fasciitis pain in my left foot. It's not exactly flared up, but it's like I'm getting the compensatory pain where like the side muscle is just constantly like sore because it's making up for me not using the other muscle so that it would hurt. I'm unclear about what my foot's doing, but I don't appreciate it.
No, I know what you mean, because I feel like a lot of my pain that I have is because of my joint issues. And so a lot of the things that I feel like my providers get really hung up on is like, oh, this is all like myofascial. This is your muscle. Your muscles are tight. Like, I don't think that this is a structural issue. And I'm like, well, it's all tight because I'm walking in a certain way, so I don't have excruciating pains in my joints. And I'm like, my cat, like, I recognize like my calves and my back are super, super
Oh
tight.
my gosh,
and they
my
are
calves.
so painful. It hurts so bad, but it's not just like, oh, my calf is hurting, oh, my back is hurting. It's like, no, because if I don't walk in this weird way, like I'm limping because my knees don't work. So it's yeah.
I was I had dinner with Jackson this week, and I was telling him all about all of this stuff and all of this thing affects this thing affects this thing, and that's why I need to sleep for 9 hours that you're always making fun of me for. So the PT also dry needled my calf last week because there are like some tendons or something that connect to the foot, and hopefully like loosening that up was going to help with the foot arch and heel pain. It did loosen up that calf, but he didn't do the other one. So I walked out of the office and I was like, this is so weird, because my right calf still sore. My left calf, not even thinking about it. It's sending me no signals. This is so weird. Nothing ever sends me no signals.
Yeah, that is a good segue into my shit this week.
I do have one more complaint, which is just that my knees have been not hurting, but again, they're just sending me signals of like, this is uncomfortable. Like anytime
Mm-hmm.
they're in a flat position, like they're just
Mm-hmm.
automatically slightly hyperextended in a really
Mm.
uncomfortable way. And when I sent you guys pictures of Clyde sitting on the swing with me the other weekend, he really likes to sit on the lap. And so then he was putting the pressure on my knees, and I sit sideways on the
Yeah.
swing. So I'm already like using the swing to brace myself just to feel okay. And then he goes and he pushes my knees down.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
that happens a lot when Noah comes and sits on my lap. And I'm like, sometimes I'm like, okay, wait. Like, I want to hold you. I want to cuddle you. I need you to get off for a second because this hurts very badly.
mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, about a week and a half ago, we took a trip to Seattle for Noah to get evaluated by Seattle Children's for an issue relating to his speech. And I think that triggered a lot of pain in my body, and I am like just now on the other side of basically a week plus long flare up. I was in such excruciating pain this past week where any type of extension or compression of my back, and I was nearly in tears, like straightening back up, like bracing my back, feeling like I'm like 85 years old, and
Mm-hmm.
just in really debilitating pain. And I see a chiropractor, which I experienced some cognitive dissonance within myself, because a lot of chiropractic is very wooey, it's very not founded in science, it can be really dangerous. However, the chiropractor that I see works closely with a neurosurgery and spine clinic, like within the clinic, not just like works with them.
Mm.
And he does basically soft tissue manipulation, trigger points, and just like kind of, releasing muscles and all that good stuff. So he doesn't do any of those like wild like cracks and pops and anything like that. And I have always gotten at least like 24 to 48 hours of relief when I see him. And every time I come back, he's like, did it help at all? And I was like, yeah, for like 2 days. And he goes, well, that's not good. And I'm like, well, yes, in the grand scheme of things, no, it's not good, but it's 2 days of feeling not terrible.
That's like when I used to see the PT for the pelvic stuff, and she'd like do the manual massage on my abdomen, and it would
Hmm.
release all the tension, and then it would come back right away. And she's like, "Okay, so clearly this isn't gonna like resolve itself until you deal with the anxiety that's causing the tension."
It's like, but in the meantime, that feels so nice. So, anyways, I had an appointment with him this past Thursday, and I don't know. I only see him like every other week, so he probably has just forgotten every conversation we've had. But he went from several weeks ago being like, "Oh yeah, like I don't think you have fibromyalgia. That doesn't make any sense. You obviously have something like physically wrong with your joints. We have some imaging to prove that, blah 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 blah." To on Thursday being like, it sounds like fibromyalgia. And I'm like, okay, thanks. I don't think so. Because I was talking about the pain in my back. And for the very first time seeing him, I got no relief, like absolutely zero relief. I was almost in tears with him, like just sitting up and laying back down. And so he was like being very
Mm.
gentle with me, and he was like, okay, yeah, obviously this isn't doing you too much good, so we're just going to stop for now. And I'm like, well, this was like my one thing that I was looking forward to every other week to like keep me sane.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just like, well, no, we're just going to stop because this isn't doing you any good. And I'm like, okay. Um, I have an appointment with physiatry in a week and a half. I'm counting down the days, and so I'm hoping for something. I'm gearing myself up for the just emotional exhaustion of having to start over and explain everything. I hope actually that she doesn't read my chart because I feel like that's just going to muddy the waters, because I feel like providers are more likely to listen to other providers, but I feel like other providers have misunderstood me or jumped to
Mm-hmm.
conclusions, and I'm pretty anxious about that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I've been in some of the worst pain that I've ever had in the past week. I'm feeling super demoralized. I'm feeling just like I want to give up, which is not a fun place to be in. But yeah, it's been rough. And within all of that, I started listening to the audiobook The Lady's Handbook for Her Mysterious Illness by Sarah Ramey, and Cassie has read it before. We've been discussing a lot. So I'm only a quarter of the way through it. It's long as fuck. I still have like 10 hours left, and I've already listened to 3, which is ridiculous. But I've gotten to a point where I'm like, I don't even know if I want to continue reading it. I
It's
feel
not,
like,
yeah, it's not like it's a great book if you want some validation, and it's not at all if you're looking for hope or actual practical advice. Or I mean, there are so many things that count as mysterious illness, so she can't cover
yeah.
everybody. She can just tell you her experience. But
Yeah, and the fact that, and this is something we've talked extensively about, is that like she's so close to hitting the mark and just misses it, and it almost feels like an intentional miss because she so many times throughout this book is like, I'm not just writing this book for some women, I'm writing this book for all women, and
mm-hmm.
totally ignoring women of color, totally ignoring trans women or trans men who, have different biology and just so it's very narrow, a very narrow focus on herself and her experiences and like anecdotes of people that she knows, and of course I'm only 25% of the way through, but Cassie does corroborate that it's the same throughout, um, and it seems very privilege blind as well, like she is able to go to all of these like alternative therapies and try all these different methods and try all these different diets and organic foods and cutting out processed stuff, and like all of that is all fine and dandy, but
Her
it's like,
family also takes her to the top of the line medical, like standard
yes.
medical institutions in the country, like John
Mhm.
Hopkins, Mayo. Like she goes to them all,
Yeah.
and no mention of how much it costs and how inaccessible that is for. Like
Mm-hmm.
if it's that hard for her to get there.
Yeah.
Because like most people don't realize this, Mayo does not get paid for by insurance ever. Mayo is not covered by insurance ever.
Really? Oh, I didn't even know that. Yeah, it's like, yeah. I'm like, I would love to eat organic. I would love, I would love to not rely so much on, more processed foods, but I'm like, that's not where I am financially. I can't go to see the best I can't move to LA to go see the best acupuncturist in the universe 3 times
Right.
a
Mm-hmm.
week. Like she can. I'm like,
Yeah.
so
Yeah, and this isn't like entirely related to the content of the book, but it just reminds me of my friend who has EDS, and all of the like I swear they have like every single comorbidity that you can possibly have with EDS,
yeah.
and they basically can't work, but it's a chronic illness, so it's not counted as disability. So they can't get like disability benefits, but also if they were on
Which is
disability,
fucked.
or like if they're on disability for one of their other conditions, then they would lose that when they if they ever actually finally marry their partner.
Yeah.
And none of that is talked about in the book at all about.
Yeah. Our social security disability welfare system is so fucked, and it's getting more and more fucked by the day. It already had so many problems, and it's just, yeah. I don't even want to think about it right now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So anyways, that's my rant, and my book corner. And on a happier note, I know John started a book series that I've been dying
Yes.
to read.
So last episode I
Do you like
talked
that
about.
transition?
It was a transition.
Thank you.
Last episode I talked about going to watch TJ Klune speak, and we had a little bit of a conversation about favorite books. I have picked up, and by picked up I mean I am listening to, the Green Creek series right now. This is TJ Klune's adult male love story, because there are two different series. There's Green Creek, and then there's a different one. Green Creek is the adult one, and the other one
Hmm.
is for children, or like
I
young
don't know
adults.
exactly what the series is called, but it's like The Extraordinaries is one of the books, I believe.
I think so.
It's like superheroes. Yeah, it's a trilogy, I believe. There's The Extraordinaries, Heat Wave.
Versus this is all witches and werewolves.
Yes, yes.
Ugh. And so lots of like possessive matiness and destined mates and all sorts of like shenanery going on. And of course, the vast majority of characters who do not need to themselves produce children are gay men, which is an interesting take on it. Just a pack full of gay men.
So how are you still on the first book?
No, I finished the first book and I'm about halfway through the second book, Raven Song.
Okay. How much are you loving it?
I am enjoying it. I definitely am. Have you
Okay.
have you listened to these or read these?
No, not I have the whole series. I've not read them yet.
Okay. Yeah, no, like it's interesting. One thing I will point out that when I first realized it, I was like, okay, so this is a choice. And then I kind of deconstructed it a little bit. I'm going to explain what I'm talking about in a second, but I deconstructed it. And then I was like, wait, what if he's using it not only as like a critique on traditional writing, but also as like a plotting device for the different books? Because partway through the first book, I came to the realization of the 4 books, all of them take place from different perspectives. Each book is a different perspective. And so
Okay.
the thing that I'm talking about is he completely throws the idea of an omnipresent, all-knowing narrator out the window. Your
Oh.
narration is very not detailed, very kind of normal, flowy mind, and like some of the especially because like the book takes place around one character who it is mocked in his youth for being slow or stupid. And like you can hear it in the way that he like it's because of the way he talks. He uses very simple sentences. He doesn't use complex sentence structure. He sticks with plain words, but he's very much keeping with the conversation. He just talks in very simple ways. And so like the way that he narrates is very much like that. There's none of this
So,
omnipresent, all-knowing.
is it
And then he felt the love of his mate without knowing it.
is it still third person? Like, is it third person limited instead of, or is it
Nope.
first? Like,
Pure first person.
what prone? It is first person.
Yes. It's
Okay.
all from the eye.
Is that not common anymore? Because I feel like that used to be pretty normal.
It's common, but like in the sense that like, they don't notice everything. You don't get like, and then the tree with all the leaves, and there happened to be. I noticed that half of them were turning brown, or like it. It's very kind of memory based, like traditional human memory based. It's different, especially listening to this audiobook and compared to some of the other books that we've all read or listened to or enjoy. The level of detail and the way it's narrated, in my mind, read as a abandonment of a narrator who knows everything. It really was kind of like if I wanted to tell the story of a fictional character exactly from what the human memories would look like.
Yeah,
So, like,
that's
pretty narrow.
fair. I feel like that's a thing. Like, I see what you're saying, but like that's definitely not how writing has been trending. But I feel like when I was younger, that was a lot more normal, or maybe just in like older books, that's more. I don't know.
I don't like. I'm sitting here looking. This is going to be an interesting transition. But so before I transition to my transition, then so the first book takes place from one character's perspective. The second book takes place from the witch's perspective. And I was like, okay, maybe we're gonna like because the first book, the main character Ox falls in love with Joe in the end, and so I was like, okay, maybe one of the next books is gonna be Joe's perspective, and then we're gonna get both sides of another male romance in the same circle. No, each book also centers around one romance, and you never return to the same romance again.
Okay.
Which I'm kind of reading, I know I really shouldn't do this, but I'm kind of reading as they all end up living in the end every time, which is sad because I don't want to know how it's going to go, but it also, each book seems to have like that a central crux that's trying to kill them.
So it seems like
Huh.
it might be a stream of consciousness narrative.
Yes.
Okay.
And it jumps between scenes very quickly without any sort of scene break.
feel like very, very early novels. That was one of the innovations.
Yes,
Stream of
or
consciousness.
Call
We
Me by Your
abandoned
Name.
that, but
Call Me by Your Name is a fantastic. Thank you for
I
saying
haven't read that one yet.
Okay, I have it right here. It's very much the same thing. So, like, Call Me by Your Name has no chapters. It's all in sections. And you do get scene breaks, but it's so stream of consciousness, and you can get these skips in time and prose, and then suddenly it's that evening, and so, like, it's very Call Me by Your Name. If to the
Gotcha.
listeners,
Okay.
if you've read Call Me by Your Name, it's the same style. I know I'm not supposed to do that. I turned around.
Good news. I am doing a reading challenge. It's a very popular one. It's the 52 Book Club's reading challenge, which is 52 books in 52 weeks. And one of them is a stream of consciousness narrative, and I have not found a book for it. So
Nice.
that's even more incentive for me.
Very
to
fun.
pick that up.
Right?
I'm already doing both of Abby's reading challenges, both of her Taylor Swift challenges, which I'm almost done with. I just have to reread a favorite, which I'm working on, and read like a book set in the 90s. I think those are potentially
Written in or set in the 90s.
Yeah, those are potentially my only two left. There might be a third I'm forgetting.
Yeah, so for the listener, I love making reading challenges, especially Taylor Swift themed reading challenges. And so this year I made a Eras Tour challenge, which is how many prompts is in that, Cassie? It's based on the set list of
Okay,
Eras
one of them
Tour.
has like 42 and the other has
Yeah.
like 16.
So it's the Tortured Poets Department is one of them, with the oh my gosh, I'm a terrible fan right now. With the anthology being all bonus prompts, so you could just complete it with the 16.
But I'm a completionist.
Yes, same. But anyway, so the Tortured Poets Department challenge is a prompt per song, based on something about the theme of the song or a line in the song or the title of the song. Sometimes it's very loosely based. And then the Eras Tour is based on the set list, with again each song being a different prompt, and they're a lot of fun. I have a lot of fun with them, and there's really not a lot of crossover between the two. I tried really hard not to have too many crossover prompts between the two challenges. I will link them in the show notes if anyone's interested. I love making these so much. Yeah, I had a couple years ago when Midnights came out, the year following Midnights coming out, I made a Midnights reading challenge, and I think I had like 500 participants on Storygraph or something like that, so that was really cool. But yes, you can find those on Storygraph, and I will link them in the show notes.
While I'm thinking
Yeah, I
of it, you
think-
should definitely also throw them on all of our socials, which it dawns on me it's been a few episodes since we've plugged our socials as well.
I plug them at the end of every episode in our little outro.
Oh, in the recorded part
In
I'm
post.
not here for.
Yep. In my little voiceover when I shut myself in my office.
Yeah, so I do Abby's, and then I usually have my own like personal physical TBR challenge where I'm like, okay, I need to actually read some of the books I've been ignoring on my shelf that I've had for years. But I'm also this year trying to be a little more chill about reading challenges and mostly indulge my mood reading, my year of the whim, as I'm
My favorite
calling
way
it.
to do challenges is just to kind of read what I want to read and then like see where they fit into
That's
my
what I've-
challenges.
that's
And it's
exactly
really rare.
what I've been
Yeah,
doing.
it's really rare that one just like won't naturally fit somewhere.
Especially
and I'm very
when
much
you read as voraciously. Eventually, they're gonna all fit in.
yes. And sometimes like I'm very much like, oh, I'll only do one book per challenge. But sometimes I'll read a book where I'm like, oh, this only fits one prompt, and I already have a book there, but that book fits this other prompt. So I'll kind of do like a little rearranging as well.
I shamelessly doubled it. Tripled it, quadrupled. Look, if it fits the
Hey. category,
I'm satisfying it.
Yep.
I read a completely different book this past week. Keeping with my sci-fi kick, I read Service Model, which I've described / pitched it like 3 different ways based on other books that it reminded me of, and I only told you guys a couple of them. Of course, I deleted them out of my notes, so I have to actually go to my review.
Well, while you're clicking buttons, I will announce I have officially started watching Murderbot Season 1. 3 episodes
How
are
is
out.
it?
It is amazing. It is so
Oh,
incredibly accurate to the book. And what's hilarious is they managed to take that first novella and make it a full season by honoring every scene of the book.
Nice.
wow.
Nice.
And so yeah, it's
I
very accurate. I am in love with it. I highly encourage anybody check it out.
I have all of the audiobooks on hold through my library, so I'm just waiting. Just waiting. I'm so excited.
Yeah, I need to actually put the audio on hold. I
This is definitely a series
still
to listen into in order, though.
Yes.
yeah, I still haven't set up I did download the library catalog app, but I still haven't bothered to go find my physical library card to enter the number in. So I'm like, maybe I'll just listen to them after all. Okay, so I pulled up my review, and I said, service model is like if you take Murderbot, stick it in a British butler role, and really have to convince it that it has agency and does not have to follow rules in a dignified manner because, in fact, it has already gone against the rules.
I go ahead.
Or because it's a valet, it's not technically a butler. It does object to that at a couple points.
Naturally.
But it's also like because he's in this valet role and he's in England, it's got that humorous British tone, which is similar to Murder Your Employer, or more precisely, what to do after you've murdered your employer.
Yeah.
That's how the book opens. And then the surprising comparison that came to me is if you've read Psalm for the Wild Built or Prayer for the Crown Shy,
I have them.
both of these, those novellas and this book, both have a human and a robot or like a human-like character and a robot-like character that are seeking they're seeking answers, and also the robot is trying to figure out how to best help people. There are slightly different takes on it, but I just thought that was like really funny that they're like both following this path of like going on a quest together to help and find meaning, except for one is like philosophical and solar punk and light and short, and the other one is dystopian and post-apocalyptic and long and
And coming full circle to this book conversation, that reminds me of In the Lives of Puppets by TJ Klune.
Oh dear lord.
You need to read, Cassie. It's so good.
I will shout out really quick. I have also started service model. I got up to the point where he got into the office with the other robot that is clearly not a traditional robot in any way, shape, or form. And I just, for some reason, I was prepping for that goddamn exam, and I had to change books or I was going to lose my mind. Because, yeah, you're right, that British narration is so... But clearly, I know better than that. And, like, it kind of reminds me, if you've ever listened to the Harry Potter audiobooks, the original ones, it reminds me of that narrator a little bit.
Fun fact, Adrian Tchaikovsky, the author, is the narrator for Service Model.
Really?
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Is Stephen Fry the British narrator?
I think... Or is it Jim Dale?
Jim Dale and Stephen Fry are the two. I just don't know which
I know
is
Stephen
which.
Fry is a British person.
Or do they
I
both
think.
do versions?
They both do versions, but one is English and one is American. Stephen Fry is English.
Okay.
So that must be Jim Dale.
But no, I'm
Oh,
talking
Jim
about
Dale's English too. What the hell?
I was going to say, I'm pretty sure that Jim Dale's also English.
and I'm pretty sure I'm talking about the original set of audiobooks that were recorded for them.
I listened to them on CD once.
Jim Dale's version is known for its theatrical, character-focused approach with distinct voices for each character. Stephen Fry, on the other hand, delivers a more natural, nuanced reading, focusing on the emotional depth of the story. But which one came first?
I listened to Stephen Fry.
I don't know which one I listened to them.
Okay.
I was visiting family friends in Wisconsin when I was a kid, and I was in the car. I don't know if they were picking me up from the airport or taking me to somewhere or what, but they had the CDs, the books on tape, the CD that you put into the car, and then we had to swap them out when we got to the end of
Yep.
it.
Yep.
So I've listened to
how
like the
nice it is
middle
to
of
have
one
them
book.
on our phone.
Yes, we're very spoiled.
Okay, well, I feel like we should wrap up Battle Brief because we've been recording for 30 minutes. Good news, I have been putting timestamps into our episode descriptions if anyone would like to skip all this long stuff. I think it's interesting, but I understand if people want to skip it. But of course, this is coming at the end of Battle Brief, so those people probably aren't even hearing this part either. So, after all that, I'm going to send it over to our resident scribe, John, to break down the epigraph of chapter 12. We could actually start on the chapter.
Absolutely. Our epigraph clearly has nothing to do with the conversation that's going to be had today. But here we go. From Colonel Kaori's Field Guide to Dragonkind, Presentation Day is unlike any other. The air is ripe with possibility, and possibly the stench of sulfur from a dragon who has been offended. Never look a red in the eye. Never back down from a green. If you show trepidation to a brown, well, I wouldn't. Or just don't.
Just don't.
Just don't.
I like how it's, and possibly the stench of sulfur from a dragon who's been offended. I'm like, they burn like dozens.
Pretty likely.
But I do wonder
We'll get to
if it's
that.
more. Yes. I wonder if it's more, though, because there are so fewer dragons compared to cadets that are trying to bond. So I wonder if in a year where there is like a more balanced number, there aren't quite as many
I would
burnings,
doubt it.
but the dragons are kind of yeah, I know. But
They're
just because he says, and
cantankerous.
possibly the stench of sulfur, I'm like,
Mhm.
well, who knows? Cassie, do we have any new Gaelic pronunciations to discuss in this chapter?
I did not find any new words in this chapter, and I'm not sure we're going to get more until we get
I'm not
to threshing.
tortured.
But you may have noticed I did a different outro last time and a different intro today, so I thought I
Yes.
would tell you what I said. Here's a hack. It's what I always say, but in Scottish Gaelic instead. um, so today I said Agasish Misha Cassie, and that means, and I'm called Cassie. That's how you would introduce yourself in Scottish Gaelic. And at the end of last time, I said cheery, which is one of the ways for saying goodbye. It's probably a little less formal, may or may not be etymologically related to cheerio. I haven't confirmed that.
It does sound similar.
There are other ways to say goodbye that I am blanking on at the moment, but
Well, we're pretty informal here, so I think that not being super formal is totally chill.
Now, when you say Cheerio, do you mean the Old English Cheerio or the breakfast cereal Cheerio?
oh, the Old English way of cheerio, cheery.
I wouldn't have been offended either way.
Do you want to know how cheery is spelled?
I'm sure we do.
Cringe. It's gonna make me cringe so hard.
It's... Oh, I have to make sure I don't mess this up. While I'm waiting for the internet to confirm, it is Tiordh. There might be another I in there. Chio...
Sorry? John is bewildered.
Yes, there's another I.
John,
So
I
it's-
need you to make your expressions more verbal.
He's face palming.
It begins with a TH?
No, it begins with
Like,
a T. A TI.
There is a region in Africa called Nakapirapira, and it's spelled Nakapirapira. Nakapirapira. And that makes sense to me, but this
Yeah,
doesn't.
you want to know why? You want to know why? Because colonizers probably gave them the orthography.
Or, turned it into an Englishy names, yeah.
Scottish Gaelic has their own phonetic system that we're using the Roman alphabet for, but it doesn't actually map onto English pronunciations. It's kind of like how French has all those silent letters. Like my last name.
Those are called the silent accents, thank you.
So Chiari is T, I with the backward accent, so you drag it out a smidge. Oraidh. So that's kind of that silent DH at the end. And a
Say it
T
one more time.
sometime. Chiori. Chiori.
Okay.
So you're getting a hint of the O. Chiori.
I need more alcohol for this.
I am one step ahead of you.
I've just got water today.
One step ahead of me. What do you think this has been the entire time?
A jar.
Cheers.
A jar with whiskey Sprite in it.
Gross.
I'm having a sex on the beach.
No, that sounds good.
Thank you. Yes. All right. So, without further ado, because we've had much ado up until this point, so much ado. John, do you want to get us started on chapter 12?
Absolutely. We begin by getting presented with what could be the most inappropriate number in the entire world were there not a 1 in front of it. I couldn't help myself. It's a 69! There's a 69 staring at us off the page.
It's the sex number.
It's a sex number. And because the audience was not there for our chat, we had our little eyes wide shut comment last time that sent me flying, only for these two to explain to me this week that they didn't really understand what an eyes wide shut party was. Clearly,
well, I
have
knew
to
because
teach
it's
them.
in the zeitgeist. It's in the zeitgeist. I've seen so many references to Eyes Wide Shut in other media. Like, I know what it is. I've just never seen the movie.
Whereas I have just completely been in the dark.
Or clearly been to a party.
No, I've never been to a party. I'm a little too vanilla for that.
What was that meme that's on the internet? If you're a good girl, you need to find a slutty friend to help teach you all the ways to keep your man happy. This is clearly evidence that I'm the slutty friend. Yeah.
Thank you for your service.
You're welcome.
So speaking of this inappropriate almost number.
Guys, we're 3 words in.
Cassie, shut your mouth. I only have like a dozen notes for this chapter. Okay, calm down. So this means that only 2 people didn't make it up the final gauntlet, which I find very impressive. Only 2 people died because our number before the final gauntlet was 171.
171.
And
which is just amazing to me.
We're coming to a consensus here. Either they got stabbed at the bottom of the rope or they fell off the mountain.
Yes.
Okay. I had to make sure we were all on the same page here. And remember that 300 of them started this, so going into the first look the dragons are gonna get. Not even bonding, just first looks. And yeah, they're all almost half gone. The rate of attrition, because it's been 3 months. Oh, we missed this little aspect, Abby. It's been 3 months, but time has finally slowed down again.
Yes, thank you. I meant to bring this up last chapter just because we had discussed how the first several chapters are over 2 days, and then we get like all out of nowhere, like a 9-day time jump, and then we're just blasting through a couple months there. Starting in chapter 11 and then going through the end of Threshing, like we are down again to like a 2-day time span over several chapters.
Time dilation.
Which, I mean, it makes sense. Kind of have to remember, like, I just sent you guys this reel, and I don't know if you guys have gotten to it yet, but Rebecca Yarros actually said that she had to cut material from this book. She had to cut a chapter and kind of change the plot line a tiny bit, a small aspect of the plot line, because the book was over the...
Wasn't that a Dane thing?
I think it was a Dane. Yes, Dane had to get get the journal or the research from Violet's mom's office alone. Remember
how his dad's office.
It was his dad's office now, but
okay.
Semantics. I'm gonna call
Details
semantics.
Better.
Anyway, Dane said that a ward had been put up and only he could go in. The chapter that was cut was all of them going into the office with Dane to get the research.
Okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah, she had to cut the chapter because it was technically too long. Like, these books are actually bigger than her publisher wants them to be.
They are quite long.
They're not long enough.
We also found out, and we're going to see how we feel about this when we finally reach it, that last page surprise for us was not an intentional formatting choice. And if she had been aware of it, she would have insisted that they make some change to not let that happen.
Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of think it's perfect, but...
It's perfect and devious, and I hate it. So, in case anybody is confused what we're talking about, the very last page of Onyx Storm basically ends at the bottom of the page. So there's really no way to know that it is the end of the book until you turn the page and there is no more writing.
When you look at the lines as they line up page to page to the one next to it, it literally is on the last line of typeset text that has existed on every page up till now, and you reach it and you flip and then you...
And it's done.
And then you want to hunt down Rebecca Yarros and demand that she give you the answers.
That's funny. So this copy of Iron Flame that or of Fourth Wing that I'm holding... Wait, what am I... Hold on. Let me just verify. I'm holding the correct book. Yes, okay.
It has a different chapter from a different book at the end of it.
Oh, okay. That explains why I don't recognize these names. Well, the excerpt from the other book also ends at the bottom of the page.
I noticed that on my
just
copy,
in case.
Yeah, it does. Oh, mine ends one line from the bottom of the page, but it's close enough to make it seem like it could continue.
Okay, okay. Y'all, 3 words in. Okay.
If the people that are listening don't expect this from us, I don't know what to say.
If you don't want this level of close analysis, of close reading...
Turn it off. Find another podcast.
We find out that our girl, despite her penalty with the rope, manages to get her squad into the first third of squads that will be presented to the dragons in the next few hours. This piss-inducing parade, as it is described, as the dragons get their first glimpse, as I've said before, of these cadets. Violet is suddenly gripped with the fact that her body is not exactly happy with what she's been doing to it for the last couple of days, but she tries to fight forward, despite the fear that's also gripping her stomach that wishes that she had placed last. We also get a name for the very first time. Our boy Liam gets called out for the fastest time on the gauntlet.
That's not the first time we get his name.
I'm pretty sure it's the first time we get it.
We get it in the Eyes Wide Shut party. And Violet knows him because he's the best in their year.
You're right. I'm sorry. I think I said this all last time too, but
probably
Liam!
I wrote Liam in all caps, 3 exclamation points, 3 hearts, and then underlined.
Aww.
I love Liam.
And we get the phrase, pretty sure that guy doesn't know how to take second place. And when she makes that comment about he was already perfect, I'm like, you bitch, you wrote him that way.
Yeah.
You're the one who made him a Gary stew, ma'am.
And then we get to the paragraph I was looking at earlier when we had our whole stream of consciousness conversation, which is that, this description, the autumn-colored meadows and peaks rising on 3 sides, and the box canyon and training field, and all these, the line of the waterfall that might just be a trickle of a creek get run off. Who actually observes all of that fucking detail in their day-to-day life?
If I was a character in a book...
Our girl Violet was raised to be a scribe.
There's that. And also, I guess maybe this isn't that different as someone who has literally been writing her whole life as soon as I knew how. If I was the main character in a book and it was stream of consciousness, this is still, honestly, you might have more interruptions to be like, oh my gosh, this rock, guys.
See, and
I was going to say, I would notice
fixation on, a specific one detail, that is stream of consciousness to me. But, the picturesque painting of the background in one paragraph.
I mean, you didn't see the mountains I saw this week, so honestly.
I know, I miss my mountains.
Same girl, same Violet.
John just gave us the double bird.
Yeah, I miss my mountains. I'm over here on the coast where there's hills. They call them mountains, they're hills. And they barely qualify as that.
Yeah.
Okay. We get a comment that fall is setting in, the trees are turning. It's as though someone has brought in a paintbrush and streaked it across the landscape. Perhaps using words, you might say? And then we get the call out for what everyone's here for. The dragons. I love this dimensionality. Averaging 25 feet tall. Oh my god. So I've had this thought process in my brain before of like, let's just like actually have that fantasy of Taran exists and I can bring him into this world. Do you guys think I could get him to stick his head right here at my porch without crushing any of the houses on the block?
No! Because he's bigger than the average.
I know, and so I just keep looking at it, and I'm like, yeah, if dragons existed in today's society, they'd land in the middle of a street, spread out, and crush 5 houses.
Yeah, infrastructure would have to be
Maybe
quite
not in
different.
Darna, though.
Yes,
When she
younger
goes-
dragons. Yeah, younger dragons are safer. Garrick begins leading second squad as they head their way towards presentation, and orders them all into formation.
Oh, I have a note here, but you keep going.
I was going to say, I got a feeling I know what this note is. We get this interesting dialogue on patches and a fun comparison. Remember, Zayden abhors patches, Garrick does not. It seems that he is very kind of by the rules in a lot of different ways. He is there to support. He is there to be second, and that means he does not make the rules, he follows the rules. I also think it's hilarious because this is such an interesting comparison. Cousin and cousin. Which one might love Violet more? I'm never gonna give it up. Never gonna give you up. Never gonna let you down.
Wait, are we talking
Wait,
about
aren't
Garrick
you talking
or Bodhi?
about Bodhi? This is Garrick.
I'm pretty sure I was talking about Garrick.
Garrick's not the cousin.
No, you're right. I do this every episode. God damn it. I shouldn't drink on these episodes.
I was gonna say, like, I am feeling Garrick in this paragraph though.
I know, boy. Ugh. Just remember, Imogen will cut you for him.
Imogen.
Yeah. Oh, Imogen's all about Garrick.
Yeah, Imogen and Garrick.
Oh right. You know, I get really confused about whether she's into Garrick or Quinn. So
No, she's just besties with Quinn. Quinn has a bow.
that's fair.
I was gonna say,
that's
they
fair.
sisters. Quinn has a girlfriend.
Yeah, no, but just this paragraph talks about the relic on the forearm gleaming in the sun. And I don't know if I want him or want to be him.
I also think,
I'll take option A, thank you.
I am very interested by the fact that these black relics are constantly being described as gleaming or almost shining, like they themselves are not black, but like metallic almost in reflectiveness.
Oh, yeah.
Or they're
And
just
so-
sweaty all the time.
Or both.
Who isn't, girl? Who isn't?
I mean, honestly, I'm sweating right now.
Same. But on an actual like book analysis note.
Laid on us.
So she talks about Dane, and she doesn't know how he would feel about how her succeeding the gauntlet and getting to this next situation and her
I have a note on this,
bending the rules. But then she says how she feels, and I made a note that this is her starting to form a sense of self that diverges
Separate.
from her relationship with Dane, and like it's not about who she is in relationship to him anymore. It's about who she is in relation to herself and her own goals.
Yeah, my note on that is just she's seriously worried that Dane will be disappointment that she survived.
Disappointment?
Yeah, and that is
because she bent the
heartbreaking.
rules.
I heard disappointment. Don't you mean disappointed?
Yes, I'm a little tipsy. So
Cheers, girl.
she's seriously worried Dane will be disappointed
That she survived.
that she survived. Because the way that she survived was by bending the rules, not even breaking them. She was correct on a technicality. So I would even
Yeah.
say she didn't even bend the rules. Like, she followed the rules, just not in the
Like,
spirit
to
of
the
the
letter,
rules,
yeah.
necessarily. Yeah. So I'm just like, that's so fucked. And I mean, we get more of this, of course, after Threshing, when it's the whole, like, Zayden being like, would you have saved her? And he's like,
Mm-hmm.
no.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it's so fucked. It's so fucked that he holds the rules in such high regard over the girl that he supposedly loves.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. As they gather into formation, they hear a sound like rushing wind, and Violet knows someone has been found lacking. So there's one death. 2 died going up the mountain.
168.
We finally stopped 69ing. Damn it.
Yep, off of the sexy number.
Do you think she did that on purpose?
I don't know. Maybe.
We made it to the next
Hard
page.
to
We can
say.
finally talk about the numbers again.
We're not 3 words in.
And then we get instructions for what will be, relatively speaking, the easiest task that there is to complete. Go for a walk. Stay on the path. Do not make eye contact. Keep gentle conversation going. Chat among your friends. You know, just a little stroll down the meadow. And hopefully you don't die.
Casual walk.
Yes, I made the most obvious comparison that has been made about dragons many a time, which is that they're like cats. They have to come to you. They have to choose you. You can only actively annoy them after they like you. You can't make the eye contact.
I really like How to Train Your Dragon's depiction of
Yes,
dragons because they are
they-
absolutely cats.
I'm pretty
Absolutely
sure
cats.
someone told me recently that Toothless was actually modeled after one of the animator's cats.
Oh, I mean, they're scared of eels.
And his facial expressions are so much like Clyde's.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I love How to Train Your Dragon. I showed it to Noah, and he wasn't a huge fan, but there's like a How to Train Your Dragon show that he loves, and I'm like, okay, rude. So I might try to show it to him again.
I'm sorry.
He might grow into it.
Oh, okay.
I will say that he loves The Princess Bride and Labyrinth with David Bowie. I might have mentioned that on the pod before, but that's one of my proudest mom moments is that he loves those movies.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, sorry.
We begin getting some instructions that are actually useful to the walk at hand. Notably that it's worthwhile to keep a little distance between everybody, because once one person goes up, everyone around him's likely to go with him if you don't.
They would rather burn folks that they like instead of letting one that they don't continue on.
They'll just take the whole lot. It's easier.
Oh, it's like pulling weeds. You're like, I'm sorry, you're an okay plant, but you're surrounded by horrible, awful death plants.
And
by
I
that,
can't
just mean
separate
plants that
them
have
out.
to die.
Yeah. And then we get a last instruction. Remember, you are here to approach them. Or, sorry, not here to approach them. I love that I do that every episode that I have to be in charge of.
Let me just say the opposite of what I mean.
The knot was hidden inside the crease, or inside the okay.
Not even covered by a sticky note.
Not even covered by a sticky note. And then we get Luca. Aw, poor Luca.
I don't have any sympathy for Luca.
Not that poor
Fuck
Luca.
No.
Oh, I just want to say real quick with Drew reading through these, he's been reading through them so quickly now that he's only been giving me sporadic updates, and he kind of gave up on his sticky noting after a bit because he was just breezing through it. But he was so happy about Luca getting torched.
Yeah, same. Honestly, same. I think I said the first time I read it, I was like, good.
Yeah, bye, bitch. Apparently they didn't like her. Yeah, we'll get to that. And she pipes in with the, can I ask a question? Let me tell you facts. And I just want to call this out because when I went to that TJ Klune talk and he took questions at the end, he actually called this practice out. And he was like, coming up and saying, I have a question, and then telling me your life story before asking a 3-word question is not actually asking a question. Other people are here for questions too.
That is so common at readings, and I have mixed feelings about it.
Yeah. And then we find out that there is, quote unquote, a feather tail.
And
And then we begin getting what will be the series of reactions that ultimately decide whether or not the squad will sink or swim. Up first, we have Tynan, a scrawny little scraggly brat who can't figure out who he wants to be, bully or squad mate, wondering who the hell would ever want to bond a Feathertail. Well, it works out fine in the end, doesn't it? Continuing on, Sawyer, our bro, tries to rationalize with the matter without actually addressing the quality of the dragon tail at hand by simply saying, I've memorized all the dragons at hand. There be no feather tails. I know. I memorized. I'm sorry. I love Sawyer. He is such a nerd. Like, I went through and I memorized them all. I can tell you their ages. I can tell you their lineages. I can tell you their color and tail. I can tell you size
he can,
ranking.
absolutely. He's like, I'm not fucking this up again, you guys. Like, this is my year.
If it isn't this time, it'll never happen. Yeah, anyway.
Yep.
All 100 of them. And that's a quick note there because, 169 people went into presentation, but only 100 max can bond. But, Bond.
James Bond.
And then Garrick tries to console them by reminding them, Feathertails don't bond. I can't even remember the last time one has been seen outside the valley.
Well, you can't remember it because it hasn't happened in your lifetime, Garrett.
Right? Like, there's a reason you can't remember, bitch. And they're told that they just walk up, stay on the path, stop at the end until everyone gets there, walk back down, and they're done. How hard could it be? Who could screw this up, right? Clearly they haven't met any of my undergrads.
Good one. Oh, God, that's a good one. Burn them. Burn. Literally.
I really wish that my students got punished with Dragonfire for breaking the Makes shit a lot easier, I think.
Yep.
Fewer papers to grade.
Fewer papers to grade. That is a valid point.
That wasn't your first concern?
No, I was more like
They're
the
annoying.
stupid ones will get burned fast, and then I'll just have like the compliance students who actually make the effort, because if they do the job well, the job is easier to grade.
That's true. Oh, I'm getting flashbacks now.
I am just such an asshole.
And we love you for it.
I know. Garrick passes our group off over to the Quadrant Senior Wing Leader, who I'm trying to remember the name of because I can't see it right now, and I know it's here,
Did
but
they
I'm
give it
missing
to us? She's not just she this whole time?
A woman I've seen a few times in Battle Brief murmuring to Zayden. Yeah, I don't
But
see
I
her
swear
name
to
there.
God that we got her name when they gave the speeches. Because she was the one that gave the speech before Zayden.
Oh. Yeah.
You're right. She just keeps saying the senior wing leader. The senior wing leader.
Let me look. Hold on. Naira.
Thank you.
Brunette woman with wide shoulders and a scarred sneer stalks forward, the silver spikes on the shoulders of her uniform flashing in the sunlight. I'm Naira, the senior wing leader of the quadrant and the head of the first wing. Page 40, at least, if you are reading the same edition as I.
I was gonna say, the broad shoulders, no wonder she's wearing those spikes, which I totally forgot about in that other section when she's first introduced to us. But in this chapter, I made the little note that I want shoulder spike accessories. I also have broad
Nothing
shoulders
is stopping
and
you.
love accentuating them. And I have been seeing shoulder jewelry on social media in the past year that if it wasn't so expensive and practical, I would be investing in. And I complained, like, why does this never come back again in World? Like, why is no one else wearing shoulder spikes? It's just this woman twice.
Maybe they all are.
My question is does this mean
She's a
that
trendsetter.
Navarre is currently in its shoulder pad era? Is this basically the 80s?
It is.
Well,
it's the
but
80s.
It would be if anyone else was doing it, but it kind of sounds like maybe it's just this woman. Please
Maybe it's the
correct me
70s
when we
and
get
she's
to
the
future
trendsetter.
chapters. I would love to be stood corrected on this point.
I would love to be stood corrected. Okay. What I love about Naira, though, is that where Garrick was actually speaking in sentences, which invited conversation back, Naira is not. You understand that she is using almost monosyllabic communication here.
As few words as possible.
Single file. Talk. Not to me.
Well, she's been through 10 squads already. She's, like, already over it. Garrick has only been having to do fourth wing.
Fair.
Yeah, that's awesome. And he has to interact with them like on a daily basis, and she's just like, I'm just here to administrate you guys for a day. All of
Yeah,
it.
I don't know who you are.
Even though she's senior wing leader over all of them. Anyway.
Yep.
Yeah, so she only has to deal with the higher ups. The
The other wing leaders. She does give us this little bit of feedback here. Feel free to look at the dragons if they're showing off their tails, which makes me just love the idea of a dragon just like, yeah, look at my butt, look at my butt.
See, that's definitely Millie.
Okay, wait, hold on though. Going back to the first thing she says, I know we already referenced that they need to be having a conversation. She says talk. Nice day for a presentation, Rydock jokes. I said Rydock because Cassie says Rydock. Riddick. I have no internal consistency. But I just wanted to point out that that's the same thing that I would say or do to this kind of thing because I'm just a little smartass. And so this also reminds me of, so not only am I a smartass, but I tend to take things very literally. And this reminds me of a story. When I was a junior counselor at Camp Reed summer camp, shout out if anyone is listening that has been to Camp Reed. One of the rotating duties was KP or kitchen patrol, where you would go in and you would help prep the meal and then serve the meal, and that would be your duty for the day. And I went in, and there was a counselor who was really intimidating, but I got to know him better. And he was just like he was a sweetheart, but he came off very intimidating. And so he came up to me, like, all, like, as Rebecca would say, 6 foot 4 inches and 6, whatever. Okay, that's not a funny joke anymore because I can't remember. He's 6'4", he's hulking, and he comes up to me and he goes, "Abby, twist," and I look at him with fear in my eye and I start like dancing, like, doing the twist. I have no fucking clue what he's talking about. And he just loses it and he laughs and he goes, "No, the drink twist. Go get the drink powder and make twist." And I'm like, oh, okay. And I did not ever live that down.
Oh my god.
So just imagine, like, 16-year-old me, like...
Do the twist.
For the listeners, both Abby and John have their arms up, elbows bent at waist.
And if you could see
/
my
chest
leg,
level.
I'm twisting my...
I was very disappointed that no one commented about me getting myself into position and literally, like, putting my ass up to the camera with my head turned around like, look at my butt.
Sorry, John did shake his butt at us a minute ago.
Guys, if we become more popular, we might have to start actually recording video to, like, if we do, like, a Patreon or something. 'Cause, I get a kick out of it. Other people might as well.
We can consider that a fan-negotiated possibility.
That will be probably 3 times as much editing.
Yeah.
Oh, Cassie, don't ruin my day.
I just wanted to, sorry, John, I was so distracted by you doing what Millie does all the time and, like, having those images, like, overlaid in my brain.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause, yeah, and she always, like, flicks her little tail around like a flag. She gets so excited about the butt scritches.
We also get this other tidbit here. There is a correlation between bonded cadets and level of chatter, as it lets the dragons understand how you work with others, which is an interesting little concept here.
Since they don't seem to care about teamwork in Navarre.
Mm-hmm. And yet the people who work together are the ones that make it. Huh.
Think the dragons are trying to tell us something.
And then, with one last little set of words here, we get the best line of the day. See you after your stroll.
Mm-hmm. 7 of you.
And I swear to God, the original audiobook, the person that was narrating it, I follow this woman on Instagram, and she's an audiobook narrator, and she'll just set up her...
Is it the book goblin lady?
Not book goblin lady.
Or
She's an author.
Okay.
She's an author now. This woman has...
right, not a narrator. Yeah.
The straight hair and always has the headphones on. And so, yeah, she does a lot of smutty books, and, like, she'll get to some smart-ass line or some smutty thing and not have been prepared to say it, and she'll just say it and go, well, that was catty as fuck, or that was bratty, or, well, damn, or my parents can't listen to that. Like, the range of reactions from this woman where she just has to hit the pause button on a recording and be like, shit, I can't, I got to reset here.
I do enjoy her stuff too.
I'll try to, next time I see one of her videos pop up, I'll try to remember to see her screen name and send it to you guys to include in chat stuff, or in description stuff.
In the show notes.
Yes. In the places where the words and the things, in the doobity-doo.
In the towel section down below. Editing Abby here. Quick point of clarification. John did change thoughts kind of midway through his sentence there. So the Fourth Wing audiobook narrator that he had started to talk about is not the same person as the woman he follows on Instagram, who is also an audiobook narrator. That audiobook narrator is Laura Horowitz. She is on Instagram at Laura_Horowitz_narrator, and she is linked down in the show notes below. And John wanted me to clarify for you all that the point that he was trying to make was that in the Fourth Wing audiobook, for the specific line, "Have a nice stroll," the voice actor who said the specific line had a lot of fun recording it in their best snobbish indifference and still mocking a little bit. And the connection there was it reminded him very much of how the narrator, Laura Horowitz, does her videos on Instagram. So hopefully that clears things up. I know I was a little confused when editing and had to do a little investigation into what he was trying to say there. So back to the show.
And so, I don't know what, trepidatious is a word, but not the word I was looking for. There's like, our troubadour of cadets sets off. And they go on their walk, a very simple walk. As they begin, they give each other the suggested space. And we begin to get an instant sense of who may or may not actually survive the year. I'm just going to call this out here. First reaction, Tynan. I can't see their tails. Do they want you to see their tails? Because I remember the wanting you to see their tails being a prerequisite to them showing you their tails, right?
Oh, I also think it's funny. Okay, so they're talking about how many dragons there are, like a page ago, and how technically there's 101, but obviously the Feathertail's not going to bond. And then we get to this page, and Violet is like, and the 101 dragons who've decided to bond.
Already corrected in her mind, right? Like, I'm surprised we didn't see a retroactive cross out of 100 and rewrite of 101 in all the previous pages because of Violet's tendencies.
And actually, we'll find out that there are 102.
Technically, no. Taryn never actually consented to bond until he sees Andarna.
I don't know. I think Scale has already been talking to him about Violet.
Oh, absolutely.
I think he's thinking about it. He's obviously not there, but I think he's thinking about it.
And like, the reason we know that he knows is because the sharing of memories is considered to be a very intimate action. Almost like something you do with a partner.
Right, because that was such a big deal later.
And so it wouldn't surprise me if we find out that Taryn and Sigale have been actively sharing memories with each other and viewpoints with each other this entire time.
And how many of those are just Scale passing on what Xaden has seen?
He's like, the wing leader kind of digs this girl. What's up with that?
And again, we get this comparison between Violet and Tynan, where Tynan's like, how do I know which one I'm going to approach? And Violet's like, I'm pretty sure this whole walk is for them to decide whether they want to approach you, asshole.
Yeah. We had explicit instructions, pretty sure.
We're really sure about this one here.
This is why you're gonna get roasted, you little bitch boy. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of The Wing Readers. You can follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and Blue Sky at The Wing Readers, or you can send us an email at thewingreaders@gmail.com. It would mean the world to us for you to subscribe and rate us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. New episodes drop every Tuesday, but we will see you on Friday for Chapter 12, Part 2.